Hey YouTube, Mike the Alpha Hoarder here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. What I do around here is hoard and collect alpha cards. I look at them and enjoy them, and while I do, I like to rant and pretend that I know what the hell I'm talking about. And today, I wanted to talk a little bit about negativity. So, I've seen a little bit of this on my channel, although honestly, I gotta say I'm pretty impressed with how positive everyone is. I suppose my particular channel might be so niche that it just, it just attracts people with the same mental maladies as myself. But in any case, I don't think anyone that's spent any time on the internet can deny that negativity is out there, and it is absolutely everywhere. Some people are just doom and gloom all the time about everything. Rudy talks about this too. He's got a couple videos on it. And that's certainly true. We all know it. But I think that those people are really just an extreme manifestation of what's actually a much more common problem. And it is sort of the opposite of FOMO. It is a fear of stepping up, I would call it. In some contexts, you might consider it analysis paralysis, or a total risk aversion, something like that. Now, I had another video where I talked about how people are predisposed, or not predisposed, hypersensitive to negative emotions. And so, there's no surprise that negativity is going to find its way out there. You would totally expect that in a market like this. People's jobs are at risk. Small businesses are hurt. Individuals are getting pounded. So, that's certainly going to exacerbate negativity that's already sort of latently in the air. And I'm not here to say that those concerns are unreasonable. Get this open. Quite the opposite, actually. I want to talk about something that I think is just simply true in life at any time and in any market. And that truth is, there is always a reason not to act. Ooh, very clean. I like it when I'm surprised by how nice a comment is. All right. There's always a reason not to act. Anybody you ask, or any forum you browse, someone is always going to be able to tell you why the thing you want to try is going to fail. The reasons why it's not going to work. Maybe it's a business you want to start, or it's an investment you want to make. Maybe it's a changing career you're considering, or a relationship that's perhaps going to the next level, or else perhaps coming apart. Any big life decision. There's always a reason why a change is a bad idea. There's always a reason to be negative. And the thing to keep in mind is that those reasons are probably true. It is true that your plans, as laid out right now, will fail. Your expectations for what the future holds are very unlikely to manifest. And I can say that with 95% certainty. Plans never unravel the way that's expected. The future is uncertain. It is subject to an assault of variables, hidden and revealed, as well as truly random inputs. And that is just life. It is the conundrum we face. We can plan for the future, but we can't foretell it. So what do we do? Well, we have exactly two options. Option one is to do nothing. Wait for the world to happen to you. course, even if you do nothing, things are still going to happen to you. You know, perhaps you get fired, perhaps you get sick, perhaps you get a job offer, etc. But this is the passive approach. Let life happen. Don't make the waves, but react to the waves. So option 1, do nothing. There's only one other option. Option 2, do something. In this case, you can make something happen to the world instead of the other way around. Cause some changes yourself and see if any of those changes push you in the direction you want to go. And this would be the active approach. Let life happen, but then push back against it. And what's the difference? Well, passive is it's like sitting in a river and getting swept along by the current and just focusing on avoiding, you know, the rocks that are in the stream. Whereas active is like rowing against the river current. So, ooh, a nice pile. The current is still going to buffet you this way and that. And, you know, there'll still be rocks and sticks coming down that you'll have to avoid, but you can also row. And bit by bit, you can fight to where you want to get. And I can tell already this is a bit of an unlettered rant, but my point is this is a mentality. Ooh, beautiful earthbind. Look at that centering. Such unusual art. So many people love this card. I am one of them. This is a mentality. I'm going to digress for a minute, but it's important. So let me just pull this up. I want to just share a couple of studies with you to tell you what I mean and why this matters. So these are all very clean. In 2017, Fidelity Investments did a study of millionaires. They found 88% of all millionaires are self-made. And the definition that they're using there means although the person is worth 7 figures or more, they did not inherit 7 figures. So they didn't necessarily inherit nothing, but at least the order of magnitude on their net worth is self-made. So that's 88%. In 2018, Ramsey Solutions did a similar study. I take theirs with a grain of salt. There's sort of a conflict of interest between their product line and their study results. But they found 79% of millionaires were not only self-made but inherited nothing. 79%. And then they put the number at 97% of millionaires were self-made according to Fidelity's terms, which is to say worth 7 figures or more, inherited less than 7 figures. And then in 2019, WealthX did a study. They found that 68% of 30 millionaires and higher were self-made. Again, meaning these people were worth 8 figures and more, but they did not inherit 8 figures. So you see the pattern. Most people that have found financial success did it themselves, proactively. Most people that have great wealth, not all of them. There is old money, there are these sort of family dynasties, but the sweeping majority built this wealth themselves. And the other thing that the Ramsey study asked was, it asked millionaires if they felt in control of their destiny, which is an interesting question. And millionaires answered that question with a yes, way more than the regular population. In other words, the people that make it to great financial success are much more likely to feel in control of their destiny. And to tie that back, I'd argue that feeling of being in control is not a consequence of having reached success. I think that is the mentality that enabled reaching success, if that makes any sense. Because it's the mentality that maps to somebody who is active against the world. You know, the feeling of being in control is what you'd expect from people who go out and wrestle with the world, right? The feeling of being, say, an oppressed cog in a stacked system. You know, this is what you'd expect from somebody who is primarily reacting to the world. And look, I know I'm oversimplifying all that. I know that there are truths on both sides of that. But, you know, you see my point, I hope. I'll bring it back around to the video, I guess, to try to clear this up. Negativity tries to prevent you from acting. And to me, preventing somebody from taking action is the same as preventing them from getting on the path to success. Because in my opinion, reaching any goal in life requires, first of all, having the goal and articulating it, aiming at it, and then running towards it regardless of the barriers. Because there always will be barriers. And you do your best to jump them, but you're going to trip. You're going to hit the hurdles and fall on your face. And you expect it, you get back up, and you keep running. And insofar as negativity stops you from beginning that run, it is stopping you from finding the path to success. So, you know, take entrepreneurs. This happens to be where my headspace is at often. So take entrepreneurs as an example. The ones I've met that are very successful, it's rarely about how good their product was, believe it or not. It is very rarely about how lucky their timing was or how amazing of a salesman they are. Almost always, it's really a measure of how well they can get smacked in the face with an unexpected problem and then find a solution to that problem quickly. Problems always come up, no matter how carefully you plan. And the ones who do well in life, in business, everything, they understand that. And they handle the problems and they move on. And that's my message here. There is always a reason to say no and be negative, or to argue why what you're trying to consider won't work. And many of those arguments that might be marshaled, or those discouragements, are probably true, because there will be failures and there will be barriers that you can't cross. But so what? You know, you can't see the end of your journey until you get there anyway, so why do you expect to have the whole thing laid out ahead of time? You need to start down the path. And the fact things will go wrong doesn't mean you can't figure out how to correct the course in real time, you know, once you're submerged in it. You know, whatever it is, once you have a stake in it, you know, once the stakes are high enough, you just have a much better shot at making it work. Way better. And which isn't to say everything always works out if you're persistent enough. That's obviously not true. Some ventures fail fully and decisively. Some investment strategies prove to be utter lunacy. But you don't actually know that until you get there. You can't know that until you get there. You know, you don't know what side roads you might find. When you're standing at the edge of that chasm, perhaps you can't leap across it. Perhaps all the negativity and the detractors that were pointing at the chasm were right. But once you're standing there at the edge and looking down, maybe you'll see another way. Because now you understand the road. Now you understand the variables. And now you're there and in it. And you know, it's a simple truth in life and in all things. Until you try and get there, you don't know what the future holds, and you don't know what to expect. And the only way to find out is to walk the path. So that's my meandering motivational rant for the day. Sorry, it was a bit scatterbrained. I tend to distract myself. The more alpha cards that get on the table, the less I can focus on what I'm trying to say. But don't let negativity immobilize you. That's the takeaway. Don't let fear of risk cause you to ignore opportunities. Instead, I'd encourage you to try to happen to life instead of just having life happen to you. And see how the road looks once you get there. You know, hear the negativity if you must. Look at it and consider it. But don't let it govern you. The fact that there are reasons that you will probably fail, and the fact that those reasons are probably true, doesn't mean you won't succeed despite the failures. All right. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say. Beautiful take today. The horde is going to be very well fed. I'm working on some common sets right now in red, so you can see I really needed some raiders, so got a bunch of those. Picked up a couple disintegrates. Wonderful take for today. Appreciate you joining me. Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to rewind it all the way to the beginning before you return it. We are charging a $4 rewinding fee effective today. See you next time.